Okay, everyone, I hope you're hearing me okay because I am dubbing over what I had originally recorded. I am using a new mic, but the mic for some reason did not record, which sucks, but here we go. This is the second part and final part of my June update, and starting off here is the lovely Fred Clark hybrid, and I'll pan down and show it. Penny Corota crossed with Jungle Gym. Slight fragrance, the color has darkened, such a lovely thing. There is another growth coming up behind it. That is a first time bloom for me. Then it looks like I'm panning back to the window, which is my little division of Den Hercoglossum. Really nice little plant. It still has a couple blooms on it, and there are a few more new growths coming up down there at the base, as you can see. And right in front of that is my very healthy area spicata. No, it's hyacinth. No, I think it's spicata. Yeah, splicata, and it's got that spike coming up. With you can see there were buds showing, and as I said in the video, I think to the left of that spike on the right, it looked like there was another spike coming up. But there again, I think I second guessed myself. This plant is a species. The flowers are slightly fragrant, and it usually blooms reliably from the older pseudobulbs. You can see on the plant the newer growths that have the aerial roots towards the front of the plant. Those are scheduled to bloom next summer. Now this plant in front I'm showing is, this plant is my newly repotted Dan Joyce Kelly, which is a cross between Spectabile and Johnsonii, which I need to keep, but it didn't do so well over the winter time. The canes still are somewhat firm, but I'm hoping to get another growth, a new growth to come up soon. That did bloom for me really nice. It's beautiful. And here is a plant that bloomed for me as well recently. It's got a new fan coming up behind it, really nice size fan. And behind that is my Fuller's Black Leopard, which is beautiful, just finished blooming for me, as you can see. Very healthy plant, lasted a long time, the blooms do, and that is a new growth, new leaf coming. Another nice thing at EPC Kyoguchi, which unfortunately didn't bloom for me this winter. This is a winter into spring bloomer, and the back of the plant looks worse for wear. You can see those canes are so desiccated, but the front is it's chalking out. Looks like some of the rhizomes, or there's nubbins that are fattening up, so hopefully I'll get some new growth soon. That is a pretty thing. There I'm showing the back of the plant, and it is in sphagnum moss, and I think what I was saying was if it doesn't do better, I'm going to take it out of that sphagnum moss, although it should be getting enough moisture. And now to the left here is my favorite Dendrobium, although it is neck and neck with Alexandra, but this is Johnsonii, which did bloom for me in the winter. I have two plants. One is in mostly just the rock, and the one that's in the rock has two new growths coming up on it to the back that I'm pointing at now. And the one on the right, which has sphagnum in it, a lot of sphagnum, I can see that on the top. I don't see any new growth. So I am going to probably do something with the one on the right if I don't see any new growth. Probably. We'll see. It's got to get out of that media for sure. But those are, kind of temperamental plants. They like a mixture of moisture and fast drainage. And that's a bag baby lime cooler, BLC lime cooler. It's got a couple new growths coming up. There's one, and there's another one that's towards the middle of the plant. There it is, peeking out. That is a very fragrant Cattleya hybrid. And this back here is another Cattleya hybrid. And there's a name, Sishian Ya Champion Red Apple. Very, very intensely red Cattleya. That's a new growth. with nice roots going down into the media. It's just been repotted. And behind that is my EPLC Volcano Trick Fireball, and that's been divided a few times. It's in semi-hydro, and it's got that nice new growth there, which they generally bloom around before Christmas, beginning of December. Nice big root on that as well. Behind there, that's my Lantha stage, which is a cross of Rothschildianum and Succuculii. And the flower is just like a big Succuculii on steroids. It's huge. And it's a multifloral as well. So I'm trying to hopefully, even though the leaves look worse for worn, I'm hoping that it puts up a new growth, a new fan, so that the plant continues to grow and hopefully bloom. The blooms are spectacular. And the plant in front is my recovering very nicely Spicerianum. That's a path, and you can see it's been repotted, and you can see how the newer growths are coming out a lot more clean and not wrinkly. So it is on the road, and that plant does like lots of water. I could water that plant every day, or just have it sitting in water, and it wouldn't be enough. In front of that is I've had that probably, I got it last fall. That's a Maxillaria cross, Shunkiana crossed with Maui coconut, and it's got new growths coming. Looks like there's 3 of them there. I'm really happy about that. And also on that same little, they all sit in that little tray. That is, I missed the name of that, but that is Florence Lynn crossed with Nodosa, I believe. LC Florence Lynn. And then to the left of there, that's an SLC, well, there's the name. SL or Petit crossed with Nodosa. And it's got all of those have nice new growths coming up. And then there's this one here is my Jungle Eyes. Jungle Elf. No, Jungle Eyes, which is Jungle Elf crossed with a Clandii. I hope you all are hearing me okay. So yeah, here up above is that rescue Phalaenopsis that I've had for probably a couple of years, a year and a half. Really was horrible looking, and I repotted it, cleaned it up much, and now look, it's got 3 or 4 nice little pups there. The crown had crown rot, and so there's another plant growing out of the crown, and there's 3 other plants and lots of nice green tip roots. So that is doing very well. Very happy that has recovered. I did not say the name of that plant, and I can't think of it right now, but I will definitely try and post the name of it on the screen when I'm doing my editing. I will do that. Thank you all for bearing with me. This is the second time that I'm doing this, but anyway, I have to do it. That is my Den Wallisii. It used to be a really big plant that was mostly aerial roots. Well, the aerial roots were hanging off the plant. I divided it. No, I didn't divide it. I repotted it, and that's the only part of it that's survived. There's another part hanging out on the other side. So I hope that will do okay. You know, I love my Docrillas. Down below here, that's my Sobenicophia robusta. And I was saying here that you can't hear that I think there's a few of these in the genus Sobenicophia. Maybe I know there's another one, and I would love to have them all, but if I could choose one, it would be Robusta. Robusta is a little more compact, and it's a little more warmth tolerant. They're all very nice, fragrant, nice white cupped flowers that are on a pendant spike. Very attractive, very fragrant. I used to have one of those. I love it. And that is my struggling Maui coconut, Maxillaria, that I am sure I'm saying right now that I need to pull off the back part of the plant that's just dead. Um, but as I am looking through the plant, I noticed, um, not right now, but I noticed earlier when I was watering that there was a new growth coming up from the base of one of the pseudobulbs, and so that's what I'm trying to do is find it right now, but of course I can't find it, and that wasn't it. But I promise you it's there somewhere. And those like a lot of water. If you notice that it's sitting in that cup of water with a little bit of water in it, so that it's constantly getting some water to the roots. And right to the left of it is another species. Which plant am I talking about? Yeah, my uniflorum, Dendrobium. And I know that I am saying something about how the plant blooms from in between the leaves, long-lasting white flower that I've smelled it to have a slight fragrance to it. And this is another plant that I'm saying that I water only when it's putting up new growth. Well, I'm sorry, when it's putting up a new growth, I wait until it's a few inches tall, and then I water it good. Until that point, I don't. I water it very sparingly. So I was saying that it's one of those black near suit, um, Negro suits, or whatever it's called. It's one of those black haired dendrobiums, and I was pointing out that that one is a black hair one as well, my Nemorale. But then I was having second guesses about whether it was actually a black haired dendrobium. There's no telling. There's so many dendrobiums in so many classes. It may not be a black haired dendrobium, but it's one of my favorite dendrobiums for sure outside of the Laturia section. These love a lot of water, but they like their roots to be dry off very fast. So, another kind of temperamental plant for me. I've had problems in the past, so I'm really treating it delicately. Now, when I go back in the back, I'm looking at there. This is my Path Honey, which I love. It blooms for me probably every other year or every 2 years, and it generally blooms off of every matured fan that it puts up. It's a cross between Philippinens and Primulinum. It's a multifloral, and it is sequential. It gets that from the Primulinum, and in front here is my Gratier, my another path, Grataxianum, which has bloomed for me, and it's put up a few new fans. So I'm expecting those to do something. It's been a couple years since it bloomed, and I already talked about that plant in the first part, so I skipped right on past that. And here we are looking at Lobo Adorable Upwind, which I'm trying to hold up for you, but it's not cooperating, and I'm still going to get another flower out of that, even though I'm kind of going to point out that the other two spikes on the plant have dried up, and it's not going to stand up no matter how I try. So I just let it stay. But I'm just so attracted to the color of the leaves, not the leaf, but the petal, the sepals. That color of green or peach is so attractive. Orange, I said green. It's orange or peach. So attractive. This flower is just amazing. And then I'm talking about how the sepals are just like they're dripping wet with that color that's so deep. Such a pretty flower. Yeah, here's where I'm saying that those spikes inflorescence are dried up, and I'm gonna get one more flower. But there again, I've got another one back behind here, which I may give away in some sort of a giveaway on my channel. So stay tuned, because I don't need two stinky. Well, I need two stinky plants, but I don't need two of the same plant. And I'm saying here that the one down in the window is not too far from a bloom size, as I'm going to put it up next to the one that's blooming. You can see there it's not that far away, and it does have a few growths that are coming up. They could actually be flower spikes, so we will see, and I'll keep you posted on that. And as I look in the front, That is another path. I can't see the name of it. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I can't see it, but it's recovering. It almost died off, and now I'm talking about my Den Forbesii that has a new growth, and I'm really happy with it. This is more of an intermediate, for sure, intermediate, very temperamental kind of plant. Likes it moisture at the roots, a cooler moisture, wetter at the roots, although their they like fast drainage, if that makes any sense. So they do not like to be wet for too long, but they do like their roots to be cool and moist. So, and I'm saying how I'm pleased with the new growths, how they matured, even though they are smaller. They didn't blast. Um, so yeah, I'm pointing out that Johnsonii is another plant that likes that very thin range of cool, but they like warm temperatures as well, but they like cool at the roots. Um, so, and they like a lot of moisture, but they like their roots to dry off by the end of the day. So it's kind of a complicated culture, but that's how you have to grow those plants. Rhodostictum is another one that fits in that category, as well as um, all of the ones that are hairy. I would say spectabile and the other one that is similar to spectabile. Um, it starts with an M, and I can't think of it. Not macrobulbon, not macrobulbon, but I can't think of it. It's a Lautoria. So anyway, I've moved on from that conversation next to my Bobo mean Garuda, which bloomed. It has been recently repotted, and it's looking a little sad, but it's resting a little bit. And that is a very nice plant that I love in my Anathalea banana split. Very beautiful, and it probably needs to be repotted out of that plant, out of that media, but it has few new growths coming up. It's got three actually. It didn't bloom for me last year, so I'm really hoping to get something out of it this year. Maybe the growths will push forward as I fertilize it more during the growth season. Maybe I'll even put it outside so it can get some better light, because that is a choice plant for me. Very beautiful blooms, fragrant, really nice thing. It does smell like not butter, but it smells like almost bananas, I would say. That plant does. So, and then I'm talking here about this tray of plants that sit here get higher humidity because there's always a little reservoir in there. My neos that are going, one's going to Fernanda, the other is going to be given away too, and also those Arangus down there. I'm talking about my Distincta, and also the um, Modesta, which I'm going to show here. I was pointing out that my other Distincta, which I showed in my first video, down the way, which is in Spike, and that's my Modesta, which is still a little seedling, and they generally get watered every day. They have to, because you cannot let those roots dry out, especially when they're at the seedling stage. Any stage is bad, but especially the seedling stage for Arangus. Okay, so now we're next to, this is Maxillaria rictii, which is, I'm trying to save that. So I've only had that for a little while. This is a Bulbophyllum mean Endless Love that has never bloomed for me, and I've had it for many years. And it's just been repotted maybe about, whatever that says, 2018. So this is about the second year that it's been there, and it's got a couple new growths coming up. So hopefully it'll do something. It still grows, but it just doesn't bloom. So maybe it's getting too much sun. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I guess I'm still talking about that plant. Well, I briefly talked about that Florentulum that's in semi-hydro back there that's dying. And that's my Vandapira, which is a cross between the Phalaenopsis little one, Phalaenopsis little one, and Bacterosidera japonica. I would love to have Phalaenopsis little one. Phalaenopsis little one is actually, I want to say, Vandopsis crossed with Solaria japonica. So that Siderica, so no, I'm sorry. So that Vandopira is the cross that I just mentioned, crossed back to uh, you know what I'm trying to say. Solaria japonica. Okay. So I'm talking about this dendrobium that I love, that I want to save. That's a Laturia. I showed you the name, and this is that Surgerara Yukasaba. We know what that plant is, and it is recovering. It didn't bloom for me this year. It did bloom before, but it was sitting under the LED, and it probably got a little too much light. So I'm trying to recover it, and so now I'm outside with the Vandopira that I'm going to place outside since it's already bloomed. I'm going to put it down behind there, right there behind that's my Memorial Fred Tompkins. But first of all, I show off this Angraecum right here, which is a cross, and it's looking very nice. All of the growth and the leaves are so shiny and very healthy and strong, except for there's one in the back that's a little brown, but for the most part the new leaves are very shiny and strong. It's growing erect, and so I really expect that to do a lot. I'm very happy for that. That is my Angraecum Clouds Christmas Cradle, which is Linford White Beauty times Magdaleni. And I have both of those, as you know. But I'm very happy that that is done well in my care. And right below it, hanging on it, is a new acquisition, fairly new. That's a cross for Savila Cross, Miyaka Stars, which is Regina times, well, you saw it, Subulifolia. And that's been newly mounted on that. I'm pointing out now my Prostechia bacalis. Used to be in Cyclia. It's got a couple sheaths on it. It's been recently moved there so it can get more light. So hopefully those sheaths will push some blooms through for me. It's never bloomed. That's very fragrant bacalis. And now I'm pointing out my Nindies that are mounted. That one's mounted, and then this is my discolor, Dendrobium discolor, that put up that new growth for me over the winter. And I'm pointing out also that it's got new roots coming, as you can see there, nice with green tips. So that's very nice. That's a good thing. So hopefully those roots will extend and attach to the mount that it's on. And I'm pointing out that actually I'm putting that's a little Schilleriana that's trying to stay alive. We'll see what it does. I just keep it watered. The roots still green up. There was something emerging from the sides. I don't know if it's still there or not. But I'm kind of just going through some of the plants that are there. That's a little Moats Vanda that don't know what the name is. That is, well, I do know what the name, but couldn't read the tag. And one of those, the other plant was my Trichoglottis bracteata, and then there's that Vanda type right there, Christiansonianum vietnamica crossed with a wrinkle stylus tie something. And I'm pointing out this plant, which is a name plant, and I keep forgetting what the name is. But it didn't bloom for me last year. It had bloomed previously. I was dropping it so much, and the sheaths were damaged, and it just stopped progressing from there. But it is putting up some new growths from the base, a lot of them. So that's good, and I'm actually saying that the plant probably, after this next round of growths, will have to be divided. I'll probably split it in half because I like it when it's large. That guarantees you a lot of blooms. Something bird. Spring bird? I don't know. That doesn't sound right. But there's a name for that now. And this is another Nindi that has been mounted for a year, same time that I mounted that one that I'm pointing to. Those were from Equigenera, I believe. And I also am pointing out now that I noticed just today, that one of the roots has a little green nubbin on it, as you can see there. So I'm thinking that that is going to become a root tip, hopefully. And then maybe that will attach to that mount more securely. And then maybe I'll start seeing it push out a growth, which would be fabulous. Which I'm saying, pointing out my other Nindi that I have mounted here. It's got roots coming out and going down into the media. You can see that down there at the base, those green tips. And there's another one emerging, which is really good. So I'm very encouraged by those Nindis, because that is a bucket list plant. If only I can get the other big one to show some new growth, or not new growth, but roots. And now I'm showing this newly purchased, well, not new, it is fairly new, Dendrobium, deciduous Dendrobium cross, whatever that was, Primulinum times anosmum, or whatever the tag said. It's got, the new growths are looking really nice, very healthy. Try to give that a water every day. And then there's that has recently been potted or mounted on that Natalia tube, and you can see the new roots that are slowly stretching to that mount. Down there I'm talking about, that is an Angraecum florenculum that has been moved from outside or inside, and initially it looked very haggard, but I'm very pleased now with the way that the new growths, you can see they're more shiny, more green. The previous were a little bit yellowy, and that is a no ID Brassavola hybrid, or I don't even know what it is. It's a Brassavola something that has been on there for a few years. It's never bloomed. When it blooms, I'll know what it is. That plant's not doing anything. I got that from Aloysius. And okay, this is my Tampensis alba. Did not bloom this year, but it did put out a new growth. It had a little bit of scale that it had to be sprayed. Down below here is my mounted BLC Chinese Beauty Orchid Queen that has a sheath on it. You can see the sheath sticking up there. And then I am showing that behind there, that is a Lelia cross. I believe that could be, I don't remember, Melody. I can't remember now. I'll put the name if I can figure it out. But right next to there, that's my BLC Balmores, and it's got a new growth that's really nice. I'm hoping to see a sheath, but you can see the previous year's growth that did get a sheath on it. And then before that growth, next to the right there, that is a growth that has bloomed. So we will see. And the plant that is right to the right of that is my Cattleya baptea grape wax. That plant right there, which I love. It's a cross between Cattleya guttata and Bograngiana. That's my Sertorchis cross that just bloomed. It's got a new leaf coming out of the top. Still pretty healthy. I leave it outside. It gets filtered sun through the plants that are above it. That's the Guatemalensis that just bloomed. It's got those two nice growths. And next to it is my Cattleya aurantiaca that has recently been repotted. You can see it's got new growths and lots of roots all around the plant. You can see that quite clearly. back behind there, that is my Miltonia bluntii, which I'm probably going to give away. It has been repotted and cleaned up a bit, but it is recovering. It's not. It had a bunch of scale on it, and this is my fabulous Linford White Beauty and Grey Gum, which I've been mentioning that all day because I have a few plants with Linford White Beauty, and that is a cross. Yeah, it is a cross between Sesquipedale. No, I'm sorry. It is Magdaleni, and it is the king and the queen. It is. It's Sesquipedale and Magdaleni, and I'm going over here and showing you my Magdaleni right now, which is a new acquisition that, I was fingers crossed on that, but it is putting out a new leaf, as you can see at the very top. And as I comb through some of that little bits of cork, that is cork, I am looking for some of the green roots, and I am pointing them out to you that it's got some green roots. So I'm showing you also, this is my Nemoria Walisi that I've had for a few years. It put up that growth on not the big growth that I'm pointing at, but the little one in the front last year, and then this year it's got the one on the left. But I'm showing you, we're trying to show you the roots that are inside of that pot, but I don't think I did a good job at it. Something happened. Okay, so now I'm showing you the roots on the mounds of my Brassavola hybrids. I'm trying to not spend a lot of time on each plant unless there's something happening. But yeah, there's lots of green tip roots, new growths. This is one, I've shown it many times with the roots taking over the plant. And I'm also pointing out my row of Brassavola species that are back that way. That's my subulifolum that I just pointed to, which I think is cordata, I believe. And that is my golden tang that has two buds right there that I'm pointing to that are really dark. And there's more Brassavolas back here. Those are species, that's my perenni. And then to the right of that is a cross perenni times Alcalis, but you can see the roots that are on the mount. New growths all over. That is my Dendrobium Gatson Sunray that it fell out of the pot that it was in, and then it dropped, and then I lost the growth, but it's putting up another growth that's behind there, and today I noticed that it's even got another new growth coming. That where my finger is, that's a growth. So there's two new growths on that plant. All right. What am I showing now? This is my tray of Latura Dendrobiums. This is what I'm showing right now. That's my Bruce Gordon that has a spike. That is Alexandra crossed with Spectabile, I believe. No, that's not it. I don't know. It's Alexandra times something. This is my Dendrobium Koneko, which is a cross. And despite how ugly it looks, I had just moved it there to get more sun. And look, it's putting up some buds. Those are flower buds. Beautiful flower. I'm hoping that it puts up more growths. There's a new kiki coming out, and it's got kikis coming all over the plant. I wish that there would be some coming from the main plant, from the plot, but so far I don't see any. And I'm just showing you more Brassavolas that are getting watered. You can see the roots. Excuse me. And moving on down, that's my Den Findleyanum. And this is my worry plant. That's my Longa Calcar and Gracum. You can see that I'm really worried about those dark spots that are right there and the yellowing along the leaves. But behind there, that is wedding something, LC wedding party something, virgin wedding party something. And it's finally putting up some new growths and leaves. Back over this way on the rack there, this is my Rufely Profuse. And I'm trying to describe the scent. And now that I am dubbing over, I'm really feeling like this is like Mystery Science 2000. For those of you that are my age, I can't remember exactly now what I was trying to describe the fragrance, because that's what I was doing for that plant, because it is very fragrant. And I'm showing here a new growth on my, what is that? My Vespa Encyclia. And there's a new growth on my Encyclia Citrina. Here is my Sunny Delight times Richard Mueller. One of the growths got black on the leaves, but then there are a few other growths, and I'm saying that I should put that inside because that happens every year. The new growths blacken from the rain or something in the elements. I don't know what it is, and I may have to put that back in the greenhouse. That is again is another one of those. I can't even pronounce it. Surgerara. That's what that was. And right here, that's my Prostechia livida, showing you the spike. Hopefully I'll get some flowers. This right here, that's my Bobette's Whirlwind. I think that's what it's called. And I'm pointing out the things in the back on the wall, that little seedlings that are planted. They're mounted actually, not planted. Here's this Encyclia cross. No, it's an epidendrum cross. But now I'm pointing out this is a Ionia volucris crossed with Angraecum viramense, and it's got a new leaf coming, and you can see the top part of the plant. It looks like it's pushing out further. These are a vining kind of angraecoid cross. It's just a seedling. That's my Angraecum scotianum with a nice bud. You can see that spur down, hanging down there. And of course, this is my Grammatophyllum stapuliflorum. Still looking very nice. I counted the flowers, and I want to say there's about, well, I can't say now because I forgot. But I had counted them. There's still 2 more spikes that are still unfurling their flowers. So, but yeah. Just kind of looking at things, really trying not to point out everything. That's my, these are all recently repotted Cattleyas, except for that one that I'm pointing at. That is my Borianjana that I got at Hauserman, and I'm pointing out that there's a new growth, and I'm going to have to immediately repot that, which is good. I'm glad it's getting a new growth. That I'm pointing out, that's my Colostylus falcata with the new growth at the top there peeking out. Very haggard looking plant, but it is going to do okay. It's going to be okay. And right in front of me is my Epidendrum raniferum, and Todd was right. You can see those spikes pushing out the end there. They're more in the form of an inflorescence now because they're totally pushing through the sheath. Some are still in various stages of completing, but there are definitely 2 active spikes forming so far. That is a spike. What else? Yeah, I'm pointing out this plant. This is my EPL. What is it? It is Francis Dyer, EPC Francis Dyer, which is a Bovingana cross. And you can see that's all those roots that are coming out, and there's a new growth. So I'm very happy about that. That should have bloomed. It put up 3 new growths. So hopefully it'll put up another growth, some more growths that'll bloom, because those flowers are very desirable, very dark. And I'm just looking at these Basavolas that I got from Alan Black and Peter Lynn and H&R. Just recently mounted on these little pieces of plywood and looking at the roots and how they're attaching to the bounce really nicely. So I'm very happy. Very, very happy. And this is an encyclia that's been in bloom for about a week or so now. Very fragrant. And there's the name. Got that at Marlowe's. Not Marlowe's, I got it at Odom's. That's my Dockrilla Julie Skillencorn. 2 open flowers on it. That is a hybrid, of course. And I'm pointing out that it's also putting out new growths as it's blooming, which is nice. And on this door to my cage are my Trichocentrums and more Basavila hybrids. I'm pointing at my Trichocentrum. Those are my Stacyis with the new growth that's not doing anything. That's my Tigrina that's got a damaged leaf, but there's a new growth peeking out. And that's another Trichocentrum that's got new growth. And that's an Encyclia cross that's got new growths. They're all putting out some new growths, pretty much. And roots. And that's another Trichocentrum. That's my Splendidum. That's my Lancianum that I didn't think was doing anything, but as I look closer, there's another growth. There's a new growth coming up right there underneath the leaf. So yeah, things are doing pretty good. So yeah, that is my Colostylus or Steady. It's actually the tale of 2 plants. It originally was mounted on one from Andes that died, and then I got another one, and it's putting out new growths all over. I just saw one on YouTube who had one. Someone had one of those, and it was blooming from the new growth. So we'll see. And right behind that, I'm pointing out now, that's my Laelia anceps. That's got 3 new growths. So I'm going out of the cage, but on the way out, I'm looking at my newly remounted Parkinsonianum, the Epidendrum Parkinsonianum. And so these are just plants, or mounted plants that are hanging on the outside of my cage, mostly encyclias, but it's an assortment. This is my Dendrobium Alexandra, and this plant, that's my Guarachia Indigo Blue, which is an encyclia cross, very dark, and I'm pointing out that the sheath is full, so that should be pushing forward soon with more dark flowers. And that is my Dendrobium Pendulum that I just got from Orchid Trail, and that's another pendulum that I got that's already matured its bulb, its new growth, whereas the one before is not. And that is my Dendrobium Latagesi / Oligophyllum. And these are some newly repotted plants. That is my Aurantiaca right there. That is lemon drop. That has a couple new growths, and look at all those nice roots that are going down into the rock. As you can see, nice long roots with the growths. And I'm still showing that plant. It's got 2 growths, but I'm expecting another one. That's my chocolate drop right there. And this is my Farmerai that I'm gonna take off that mount and put it on the other mount that's right to the right of it, because that moss is gross. And I'm saying that it really doesn't have anything happening on it yet, but then as I look closer, it does have new roots coming out at the base, which I hadn't noticed. Right there, that's my, I know that plant, Fuchs Orange. It's got the growths, and that's my Guatemalensis that I just cleaned up. And you can see down there at the base, it's got new roots, and it's got a couple of new growths that are coming out. So yay on my Guatemalensis, which is Guarianthe, Cattleya, Garianthe, and those are some Laelia hybrids that are doing okay, putting up new growths, and that is my Epidendrum stand 40 anum, which has a new growth coming up. So yay, that is good. I probably should repot that, but I'm not. And back up to the wall, I'm pointing out these recently mounted Gerald McGraths, which is a cross. And I'm pointing out that I water it like a Vanda, and the roots turn green. I water it every day, of course. And I've pointed out a new root, so that should be rooted onto that mount. And I'm pointing out that it's an encyclia that's got a new growth. And back here, this is my Flickingeria scopa, which is just on that tree fern, and it is from the rainforests, so it gets lots and lots of rain. I have to water it a lot. Flowers are really short-lived, as that little tag said. They're triggered generally by thunderstorms. It's in the same family as not cumulatum. Maybe it is not cumulatum. It's the thunder orchid. It starts with cumulus. Maybe it is cumulatum. But anyway, I don't have a cumulatum. I used to, but I need to get one. I'm pointing right now at my Nemoria walisi, my other one. It's got a couple of new growths coming up. That's the one that I got from Orchid Trail. And I am coming up on the end of the video, folks. Thank you all for watching, sticking through both parts of this video. Appreciate you so much. I really do. And I appreciate you for watching me. And supporting my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your orchids.